Hey, welcome to the podcast of 1004 Holds. I am Lionfire Williams, three-time Intercontinental Champion, one-time Royal Rumble winner.
Is that on 2K?
It's on 2K15.
Okay.
These aren't real-life accomplishments, but they're real in my heart. To my left is Peyton, Chris Fury, Guthrie. Yeah, and then Nick Growall.
Hi.
Nick gets no cool introduction.
I'm developing my character.
Yeah, he's still in development.
Starting over.
So tonight we're going to start how we always start off, Raw recap. Just kind of going through Raw right quick. Anything stand out to you guys?
Different things.
I mean, we're on road to WrestleMania, so Raw gets somewhat watchable this time of year.
Especially it's a go home Raw for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. It's go home Raw. It's the go home to Fast Lane. Started off with actually not the Authority for once.
Right.
That was actually somewhat refreshing.
But it was John Cena.
Like, I love Motorhead, but I'm getting real sick of Motorhead because every time Raw starts, I hear them. So, yeah, it actually started off with John Cena, Rusev. Cena mentioned the U.S. title.
Yes,
that was a hit
and he held it up after he beat up Rusev.
I was like, ooh, the U.S. title getting some love. Yeah. Still not doing what we should and talking about how that belt made Cena. But
discussing, like, possibilities. Say he does beat Rusev. Is he just going to gloat about the U.S. championship?
I would like it. It just at least it puts over a secondary title somewhat.
Yeah.
But all of our hopes and dreams are that Rusev goes over.
Right. Yeah. But
not mine.
Counter argument.
If you're going to do it, because if you say Rusev goes over, this feels like a one-off, and it shouldn't be in my mind. So I would personally, putting my fantasy booker hat on, I would put Cena over, have him win the belt, then he has that belt for a month, and all of a sudden that belt being on John Cena means more.
That's true.
And then if Rusev is going to beat John Cena, don't have him beat at Fast Lane. That does you nothing. No one's going to know what Fast Lane is.
Go over at Mania.
Have him beat Cena.
Because that is something I've thought about. Because it's like, it's true. It's like, well, he beat him at Fast Lane. It's nothing. It's a first time pay per view.
Chris Fury's a big picture kind of guy.
Big picture.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like you're really trying to put Rusev over. You got to do it at Mania. You can't do it at freaking Fast Lane.
And usually, with the rules of opposite momentum in wrestling, the Go Home Raw had John Cena standing tall with the belt.
Yeah.
Usually the guy standing tall right before pay-per-view is the guy who loses.
Yeah.
Usually. 90% of the time. I just made that up. But usually you can kind of go off that. Like, who's been
60%
winning the
of the
most?
time it works every time.
Yeah. So. Who's been winning the most before pay-per-view happens is usually the person who's going to lose.
If Cena goes over or actually loses at Fastlane, we're looking at a possible horrible situation of Cena going over at Mania.
Right.
Yes.
And killing all momentum.
Which makes Peyton's argument much better.
Yeah, okay. I'm now seeing the evils in this.
Because if you really think about it, like, Rusev's not going to go undefeated for his whole career.
Yeah, no.
They already have a monster in Brock Lesnar who's going to be used to put over either Reigns or Daniel Bryan, whichever one. But, you make... I think a loss would help Rusev a bit because
takes pressure off of it.
It takes pressure off of it, but it makes him more. I think it would make him, the angle they could go with is that it makes him more aggressive because they've been feeding him mid card people to bottom feeders. A loss by Cena wakes him up and unleashes Rusev. In a sense.
That's a good way of
because he's been rather tame to an extent. He hasn't. For a heel, he hasn't done anything. I mean, he poked Cena in the eye. That's about the most dastardly thing he's done.
Do we ever know what actually was wrong with Cena's eye?
He scratched his
cornea.
Like, in a cool way, or just
in a match?
Probably while he's having sex with Nikki Bella.
I know that.
I think he's working a house show with Rusev when that happened.
Oh, okay.
I think they played.
Okay, so they actually had some cool heat there. Okay, let's go with Peyton's thing though. What if this is a one-off? Would Rusev go to Mania and face someone different, and if so, who?
Just another dude to beat.
Yeah.
Just another. You don't think they would put someone else over?
Who?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
You'd have a month to build.
Yeah, that's true.
The person they have to put over is Rusev because they need more heels at the top of the card.
That's true.
They just need more people.
Yeah.
At the top of the card.
That's true. That's very true. Okay. First match was Luke Harper and Dean Ambrose. It was actually, I liked it. It was a good match. Actually, they both actually looked strong. It wasn't really a squash match like with Dean has been doing to Curtis Axel. I'm sad Axelmania's over. I'm gonna say that. Like I'm upset that didn't make an appearance.
It's only over if you let it be over in your heart.
I'm still gonna try and get that going. Listeners, Axelmania, like hashtag Axelmania.
I feel like Harper is just kind of lost. Like he jumps from feud to feud, and he has no true direct. I mean, he was basically used now as cannon fodder for Dean Ambrose until he gets to face Barrett at Fast Lane.
Yeah, that's true, and he's actually one of those like big dudes that's actually really agile and really good in the ring.
Do you think him and Rowan should have split from the Wyatt family?
I think I like Wyatt on his own.
Yeah,
you needed Wyatt on his own.
I really like Wyatt on his own. It does suck. Probably more for Eric Rowan because I think Eric Rowan's definitely not getting any sort of footing at all. Harper, he still has some footing. You know, the problem with Harper, I think, is that Kane and Big Show exist.
Yeah,
exactly.
Kane and Big Show are taking up two spots that like two bigger dudes that are younger could take up, and two guys that could do more in the ring. You know,
Harper can do a lot in the ring. I mean, he's basically like
instead of just punching someone.
Yeah, Luke Harper is actually considered a threat whenever they threaten Luke Harper after you versus you might actually lose that match, but we're in a world wherever they say you have to face Kane, we're like Kane hasn't won a match
interference
in 2 years. So okay. So yeah, I think that's Harper's biggest problem is they're literally the role he should be in is being taken by two dudes that are definitely in the twilight of their career.
Hopefully the near twilight of their career.
Hopefully. And bringing them up, they teased problems in the Big Show Kane world. So now there's some rumblings that maybe that might be
a feud
or a Mania match where one of them might finally be done. They're two guys where now when they wrestle big profile matches, one of them might be putting it on the line. It's taking their backstage job.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird. Like, Kane, why are you still, jumping forward a little bit for Kane and Roman, why are they still protecting,
I don't know.
Why couldn't he just get speared, then get pinned 1, 2, 3? Why does it have to be a count out? Kane's the most unterrifying person on the roster.
Which is ridiculous since he's
used
Kane.
To be,
I think most people are from what I can tell, dirt sheets, internet, all this stuff. Everybody's pretty much done with Kane and Big Show. They're two guys that are taking up some pretty cool real estate in the main event scene. Yeah. That kind of they're done. Kane's career's been really in his last few years just drugged through the mud. So we don't even get excited about it anymore. And Big Show, he literally his body can't do much. His finisher is a punch to the face. Because he can't do...
Roman does the same thing.
Yeah, Roman kind of does the same thing. At least Roman jazzes it up, I guess.
Jumps in the air and does a crow hop. And
Roman at least looks cool. I don't know.
Cocks it real quick.
And they both do the Wookiee scream, I guess, right before. I definitely would say that's Harper's big thing. I'm still pretty excited that Ambrose is making the secondary intercontinental titles look like it means something.
Yeah.
Kind of. They're not the build-up's not awesome. It's fast-tracked and it's built around having his picture in the WWE headquarters, which is kind of stupid.
It's just a matter of him wanting his name with the perennial greats.
I think Dean is the wrestler. Really enjoy the wrestler.
Yeah.
The character may be the dumbest character in WWE history.
Really?
Just how he does things. It's just real stupid.
I think I like Dean Ambrose just because he seems to be a guy that's playing ball, I guess. You say a WWE guy who's just doing what he's told because he's 28 or 29 or something like that. Yeah. But no matter what, he gets over. No matter what stupid thing they make him do.
No matter how many gimmick street fights
he has. They put him in a suit and tie to do a weekend update sketch last night because of the whole SNL 40 thing. But he still, he did it entertaining, I guess, for me. I definitely would like to see him let loose in the future, but...
In interviews, he seems like the kind of person that just doesn't like scripts and stuff like that. He
recently said on a podcast with Jericho that he hates scripted promos. He likes bullet point promos.
He likes to try different things. He likes to look at all the different aspects of wrestling from out of the box, essentially. So
okay. He was the dude who was the wild card in the Shield. He had no idea what he was going to do.
Yeah.
He's an insane man. He had that. He almost had a Stone Cold light attitude about him, and now he's doing Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's what I don't like about it. Like, I like him as a wrestler, as an athlete, all that stuff. But it's weird where they took his. Maybe they're trying to dole it down to a G-rated.
It may be.
It's
TV
just
show.
Since the Rollins feud when Bray Wyatt showed up, it's kind of he lost that direction where he had that aggression and stuff going on, and so.
I still think at times, and just how Raw ended with him actually, or I guess coming out at the end of the Wade Barrett Mizdow match.
Yeah.
In like hand or zip tying Bray Wyatt to the corner post and force him to sign a contract. That was still Stone Coldish to me, but it was a PG Stone Cold move. It was a crazy non-authority, or I'm against authority, I'm against rules way to do things. But yeah, it's hard to do Stone Cold in a PG world, and it doesn't always resonate real well. It does come off very Looney Tune-ish, I guess you could say. He's just being kid crazy rather than legitimately crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on from that, what happened?
The Divas match.
We had Divas match. Was that the Paige?
Mm-hmm.
We thought we were going to see Paige.
And she was almost naked.
Naked in a match, but then she borrowed someone's outfit
from the
Rosebuds.
Rosebuds. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, slightly that got somewhat better in that she was allowed after the match to mention the Divas title. Again, a title match where the title has finally got mentioned at the Go Home Raw. It wasn't about her skin color or her lack of tan
or her lack of clothing.
So it's a small hit, but yeah, they mentioned a title, so it was exciting. And it's we talked about women's wrestling last week, Peyton. You weren't here, and kind of how it's.
Sorry.
It's Peyton was tired. We do this at 4 a.m. But we contrasted, obviously, the NXT women's division and how it's just possibly the greatest in-ring thing that WWE has.
Just looking at this past week's takeover.
Oh, yeah, or Rival, yeah. The
Rival.
NXT Rival, the four-way.
Contrast that title match with this title match.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And we talked about how we would fix the Divas division, obviously by dropping the word diva entirely from all of it and getting a belt that doesn't have a pink butterfly on it. Things like that. And obviously, there's been some internet rumors and rumblings that the main roster is getting frustrated with the liberties NXT gets, I guess, in matches and stuff like that.
It's not even rumblings. The Bella Twins mentioned it in
an
interview, if you read that.
Oh, okay. I did not read that.
They were at a signing, and this little kid was dressed up as Daniel Bryan and asked if it was his birthday or whatever. And so his father's filming it. But his father ended up filming the rest of the panel, and they asked him that question, what do you feel like when... At NXT, the girls get 25 minutes, and on Raw, you guys get 3. And they're just very jealous. They would want to go to NXT to wrestle those kind of shows because they want to. And even in those 3 minutes, that's also entrances.
Yeah.
So they get a minute and a half in the ring.
Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah, they're all kind of fed up with it.
Yeah. So, and that's a good point. It's cool to hear that. It's cool to hear some main roster people getting frustrated, maybe a little bit, especially the women, because they're not necessarily treated with the same respect as the NXT women's roster and stuff like that. And we can sometimes... I'm still not a huge Bella Twins fan. I still think we're hard for looks than any sort of talent. I'm still more of a Paige, AJ Lee fan.
Speaking of the whole Divas thing, I have read somewhere talking about Charlotte moving up, and they were having doubts about moving her up because she doesn't have supermodel looks.
Yeah, but she's really talented at wrestling.
Right, that's what I'm like. I'm like, okay, she's not she's not a golem or something. She's an attractive female. It's not just because she isn't in Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. It's not like she can't pull in that demographic.
Yeah, but I mean, no matter what, if I was Charlotte, I wouldn't want to be called up at this point.
No, I don't think I think all of them dread that.
So yeah, they're so you're getting called up, and you're like, no.
They have a funeral.
But. So, the Divas division that happened, they mentioned the title, sort of at least made that. I'm glad they at least mentioned a title, and again, in an upcoming title match. It's bad that they're waiting for the go-home episodes to go, and there's a title involved, and that's cool.
Well, anytime that there's a total divas holding the title belt, it's bad.
Yeah, because they try to base that
other than Paige, or maybe Natalia, but...
Natalia, she's in a feud with Naomi, and it's very Divas-ish too. Like it's a double date. It's something to do with a double date that went wrong.
Yeah, it's put together with the Cesaro Kid match against the Usos, and so they're just all feuding as one big happy family.
Okay.
So.
Speaking of Cesaro Kid, they're getting their title match.
As they should.
Are you excited?
Extremely.
I know you're a Cesaro guy.
I'm just gonna watch it.
Okay.
Actually, I can't watch it. I'll be in Phoenix. I'll be on the airplane.
Man, we're gonna spoil it. I'm gonna
Just
send you all the stuff.
I'll
So
probably
when you
get
land,
Wi-Fi.
It's so
just so I
cool.
can keep up with it.
right when you land and your phone, I'm just gonna get
blows
tons of
up.
messages from me saying Cesaro died.
Why is that funny?
That's
horrible.
You laughed. I was
Because it's
sad.
Speaking of talking about somebody dying,
Oh yeah, Cesaro. Was he hacked or did he go nuts?
Oh, no.
I think he got hacked. I mean, the rumor, what I'd read was that
He wished death upon Vince
he
McMahon.
wished,
Oh, yeah.
not death, just cancer.
Just cancer. He could,
Which
it could
leads
be
to
light
death,
cancer.
more than likely, but... and that was on his Twitter account, but they claim that he was hacked, and so there was also something else he had posted. There was a 4 or 5 different posts all at once,
Yeah, it was a lot of things.
Okay.
and then they were moved.
They even put over some other wrestlers and stuff in that.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. I just saw the death where he wanted
But it was
Vince McMahon to get cancer.
because it was removed, and I believe that he had posted something saying that it was a fake, and that was removed as well.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a lot of backtracking and.
Yeah.
So should they take social media away from the wrestlers until they can grow up and learn to use it right?
I think that.
Well, I think none of them did anything. They got hacked.
Yeah,
What are you supposed
you
to
get
do?
hacked. What do you get hacked?
That's
I
not
mean,
sending nudes.
But Seth's
make a
had
better-
nudes
make a
and
better-
it violates his morality clause.
I think the
He didn't
lesson.
have his fiance.
Okay.
The lesson
he had
is
his own too. Yeah.
the lesson
What are you
is we
gonna
just
She's
wrestlers
fine.
need to make better passwords on
Yeah,
their.
yeah, like better passwords.
They
like,
they need to. Your password is 82694227.
Yeah.
yeah,
Go.
So throw some underscores.
And-
it
and
just
go.
needs to be really, really just
Change it
complex.
often.
Because right now I think all their passwords are like Vince McMahon.
Or Cesaro is awesome.
Cesaro used his birthday as his password, and it got cracked real fast. And someone vented through Cesaro.
But I think nothing, I guess, has come out officially whether it was hacked or not, but he was on Raw last night. So
Yeah,
that's
he
a
was
good
on
sign.
Raw.
And he wasn't, thrown under the bus.
No.
Like he did when he talked about
He just
Cena
didn't get to
and
wrestle.
Orton.
So
Right. He was just kind of chilling.
maybe they just said, "Hey, you didn't have a good password, so you're not going to wrestle. But that's your punishment. You're good now."
A slap on the hand.
So they're getting their title match. We're excited about that because I don't like the Usos.
They're the most innovative tag team right now. I mean, the different things that they're doing. Like last week, they had that innovative way of trying to kind of do the heel move where Cesaro came in and pushed on Tyson Kidd to keep him on top of the Uso.
Yeah.
And so different things like that, and they're just their combo moves, which are brilliant. Every time they pull something like that out, you're just like, holy crap!
Well, they're like super sound technical wrestlers.
Yeah.
So they're definitely entertaining, and I would like to see them get a good run. But we're also looking at, do you want them having the belts right before Mania?
I mean, usually Mania has some sort of tag team scramble where there's 4 tag teams. Because in Mania, they try to get as many people on the show as possible so they can get paid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one giant payday they have a year for some of the smaller guys, like Cena and stuff. They don't have to worry about it. But they try to. I mean, they'll probably be in some sort of tag match with 3 other tag teams. Possibly, if there's even that many tag teams.
The thing about it is, even if they did beat the Usos at Fast Lane, the Usos always get their rematch.
Yeah.
So it could be a final confrontation between them if they beat them twice, Unless they're trying to go to the rubber match or whatever and let the Usos win and back and forth it. But
Okay.
it's just one of those situations where you're just kind of like, okay, these guys are obviously over even though they're heels and they're working their asses off to get over. They found a way that they weren't working individually,
True.
And the Usos they're just bland. I mean, they work for kids. They're essentially the Cena version of the tag team division.
Naturally.
But
okay, well, just going on because there's a lot of tag team news.
Yeah.
Obviously, I swear, 6 months ago we were saying there's no tag teams, and I guess Vince McMahon does listen because now we have 100 tag teams.
put the primetime players back together.
Yeah. So are the primetime players back together, or is that just a thing?
Looks like
Millions
it.
of
Looks
dollars. So good.
How do we feel about that?
I'm fine with it.
I liked them when they're.
Yeah.
I liked the little strut and the little sway they did.
Okay.
The millions of dollars. It was fun. You just need fun in wrestling.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And
they may not be great.
They're better than
fun.
New Day.
Yeah.
As a black tag team.
And my thing
Let's
is,
be honest.
and when I saw them, okay, for one, I haven't seen Darren Young in like a year, because I think
No.
that's the last time he was on TV.
He was hurt.
Dude
for
is
a long time.
okay, yeah, but he's got a beard now, and
Yeah.
the dude looks mean. I showed up. Like, is
He's
this
been
a
mad.
new guy? Then I was like, oh my gosh, it's Darren Young. And then of course I love it because they introduce Darren Young, the first openly gay wrestler of all time, and then they say and his partner, and then it gets cut off. And I'm like, oh, that sort of sucks for that guy because his name wasn't called, and he was just introduced as Darren Young's
Because
partner.
apparently he was just a local indie wrestler.
Yeah, it was like
so.
Kevin Cross, I think
Yeah.
was his name.
The poor guy.
He did not get
He's
get
like,
his.
"Ugh."
Vince McMahon's like, you can go out there, but we're not going to say your name. Like, none.
paid.
got
He's
some
like,
money.
Fair enough. And you're not going to do anything. Like, you might get punched by the Ascension, but no, you're just there.
You will not get the fall of man.
Which, hey, if they were going to pay me to do it, I would have done it. I wouldn't have looked nearly as cool. So Primetime's back together.
But the thing, because, I mean, really Titus and him, I mean, other than Darren being injured, there's really been no direction for them.
They were broken up, and then
Yeah.
they did nothing with
Yeah.
him. It was like one of those, like, I remember that being the big thing when Primetime got broke up. It was like, why did I break them up? Because neither of them had any singles push.
No.
Titus spent some time in NXT, I know that. Darren's been young. There were some rumors that he was the bunny.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Whenever they, I guess, the
Sting-
Rosebuds were
Sting was the bunny.
feuding with
So.
the Slater Gator tag team.
Yeah, I didn't hate Slater
Slater
Gator.
Gator.
Slater Gator it was fun. It was alright.
Yeah.
But it was like, really? Is this a thing? Is
Yeah.
this happening?
It'd be one of those things where you get your paycheck, but man, that's got to be
Yeah.
hard to go out and do that every night.
Right.
So that's exciting. They're back together. But when I looked at them, and then of course we have New Day, and I'm still holding on to hope for some like heel,
Malcolm X.
like Malcolm X, like Nation. I know that it's not PG friendly, but I looked at Darren Young, Titus, and if you threw like R-Truth in there, like that's my Nation right there. That's my Nation and Domination because those are like mean looking dudes. And if they feuded with New Day, it'd be good.
Just the
love
goody
it.
goodies
Yeah, the
versus
goody goodies versus the
edgy.
dudes that are like over it. They're
And-
over WWE's like just total racism. We didn't even get like a Black History Month promo last night, did we?
No, there wasn't one.
Like, what? It's not cool now. Like
The
it's-
primetime players
it's
coming back
over.
together was Black History
It was Black
Month.
History
That
Month.
was it.
Okay,
That was it.
man.
They're making their own history.
All right, so I would love it. It'd be a
They'll probably on
controversial
SmackDown.
like storyline, but I would love it. Especially if they eventually became one giant like Nation and Domination.
If all 6 of the black wrestlers
Like
on the
just
card
absolutely just started calling WWE on being like totally racist.
just
Uh,
pulling like a Nexus and just sabotaging the main event. Just
so, but anyways,
interesting.
but they can't be racist because Rikishi's going into the Hall of Fame, and he's Samoan, so
Yeah.
we're good. Which we haven't heard. I guess last night there was no Hall of Fame news.
I think he was.
we're still.
I think he was the last one.
Yeah, he's the last one. So right now we're up to Macho Man, Schwarzenegger, and Rikishi. Solid, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
If you want to count Schwarzenegger into the weird celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame. So we have that. Also in tag team news, obviously we have further Mizdow, Miz dissension, Miz caused Mizdow
Last
the
week,
loss.
Last week it was Miz did so much of a better job, like taunting the audience and working. Like he just did a better job working them, and it worked really well. This week it was like he brought out the bell, and I think he was just trying too hard. He should have just kind of let it come to him as the audience.
It's a slightly overbooked match in that it was meant to obviously tease more dissension between them for when Mizdow finally breaks free, and then obviously they were mainly just looking to push the Intercontinental angle with Barrett and Ambrose.
Do you like when different types of feuds kind of cross like that?
It's weird. It gets overbooked and messy, kind of. But
I don't know, to me, it seems like I like it because it's more living and breathing.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got 40 people, they're eventually going to overlap.
Yeah.
It keeps everyone.
Right.
If you don't do it, then everyone's just isolated.
'Cause that's
It's
how- that's how I
okay,
kinda
feud
felt.
over, now next guy.
yeah,
It's cool when they kind of like. That's the one thing about used to be very good about Royal Rumbles is that you would see someone in the ring, and maybe they haven't feuded in a while, but 2 years ago they're in a blood feud, and then all of a sudden the announcer was like, "Oh, remember 2 years ago?" And It's cool stuff like that.
and you hadn't really seen them cross paths
Mhm.
since,
Right.
and yeah,
But that kind of stuff doesn't
doesn't really happen. It's like, okay, you guys are gonna just stay over here for like 6 months, and then you guys don't know each other.
Now they tried at the Rumble because it was Miz and R-Truth first, and they were old tag team partners.
Oh yeah, for
and
like a week or so.
So, but I mean, we didn't care. It was definitely not the blood feud that we were wanting to see. Like, that wasn't gonna pop the audience. Like, ooh, R-Truth and Miz back in the ring. No, I actually had to find out. Like, I had to remember like 2 weeks later that that's why that was cool. I guess.
Not.
Yeah. Also, tag team world, brothers. The Rhodes brothers are officially done. Finally, they've slow burned this for a good year or two now of them. Kind of anticlimactic in the sense that the legend Dusty Rhodes was confined to backstage. He should have been in the ring for a lot of this. If I'd been in the audience, I'd have been really upset. I would have really marked out for Dusty Rhodes myself. And just you kind of knew it was coming. You know, they've almost slow burned it too long at this point, where the last 3 weeks have been kind of the Cody walking out, stuff like this. You knew it's finally going to happen. Audience didn't really respond to it well. However, Stardust promo after the match was phenomenal for me.
With his dad?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought that was good. Cody's one of the best talkers, I think. When you give him a mic and you give him a passionate reason to talk, I think he's one of the best. And he seems to really have actually got rid of his lisp. I didn't notice that much last night.
I didn't realize he had a lisp.
He used to. He used to have a bad lisp.
I guess it used to be way worse.
Yeah, but it looks like he's just kind of gotten rid of it. Yeah. So, props.
Which is good, yeah. I mean, you have a storied family, and it's just kind of it seems like we're being cheated, kind of.
Yeah.
You know? And then, what was it? Michael Cole reading the Dusty Rhodes tweet on air. Mm-hmm. Said, in Dusty, I think, I'm going to try to say it verbatim. It's hard times in Road family.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to have this historian. If you're an announcer, you need to be a historian. Hard Times is like a top 5 promo of all time. Mm-hmm. Dusty Rhodes gave. Yeah. Okay, it's called Hard Times. You Google Dusty Rhodes Hard Times. Is that promo?
Yeah, it's it.
And Michael Cole's trying to reread the tweet saying it's been a hard time, trying to correct, thinking maybe Dusty Rhodes had messed up grammar.
Oh, yeah,
just completely missed.
But really, it's just
that's this huge thing that's
it's an homage to
his everything.
Really,
it's and they just blow it. It's like this blow history. If it's not their history, they usually just don't care.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad.
Man, that sucks.
My thing about it is, it's essentially going to be, obviously they're going to use it as Goldust's last match.
Yeah.
To possibly put over Stardust, but Stardust is a heel, and without Goldust, does Stardust make sense?
Well, I think they have time to go the route where Stardust is the heel and Cody Rhodes is the face, and there's a fight within there that's happening because for the last night the promo was Cody Rhodes is dead, and as far as I'm concerned, my embarrassment of a polka dotted father is that took that hit. And you're right, it's a storied family that WWE has always pretty much mistreated. Dusty Rhodes, they forced to wear polka dots when he came in back in the 90s or late 80s or whatever, and gave him the curvy black woman as his valet. That was also just kind of a ridiculous joke. I forget her name, Sapphire. And man, I know some really stupid stuff. But so they've always kind of taken weird hits at the Rhodes family because they were so NWA and so WCW.
And it's just strange. And do you guys remember why Cody Rhodes became Stardust?
No. Oh, the angle?
The storyline was because...
why he did it, though?
He didn't think he was good enough. Cody Rhodes didn't think he was good enough.
Because he was a heel at that point in time. Yeah. So he became Stardust to kind of prove a point to Goldust that, no, I'm the better one. I'm better than you. I can do you better than you.
Yeah.
And then WWE just kind of forgot. Yeah. And so he's been doing this
ran with it because he's been doing this for a year.
Are you saying WWE is not finishing an angle?
They just kind of forgot. It seems like someone was going through notes and oh yeah, crap. Yeah, okay, guys, we got to finish this thing.
Wait. No,
he's like the Portlandia sketch of ripping down
Bring
posters.
us the scrolls from last year.
You missed one.
They're going through the Stardust file. But crap.
Because that was my big thing. It was because it's obviously the story is that he's losing himself essentially in the Stardust character. And so if they go with that angle, then definitely it's Goldust's goal to free Cody from Stardust or whatever, then that's definitely a cool and interesting story to go with.
Yeah, because Stardust has a limit.
Yeah.
Stardust.
I
remember how you said like he could always bring it up, but now in my mind that's just dead because of Baylor. I mean, Baylor's the dude.
Yeah.
He's going to paint himself to go Super Saiyan.
Right.
Stardust, that's not going to work. It's just going to make you lose power level, basically.
And
Cody Rhodes has a higher ceiling than Stardust does. This has to be kind of like a Phoenix rebirth type of thing.
I really hope it is.
Cody Rhodes again.
Because I think Cody Rhodes is one of the most talented dudes on that roster that's never been given a shot. Luckily, he's literally 29 years old, and he's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah,
he's
5
younger,
years.
He's younger than Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and he's been in the WWE for 5 years on the main roster. He was 24 when I guess he got in. So he's still got many years worth. He could get to that main event level where I feel like he deserves, because he's a great talker, great in-ring performer. But I definitely hope this isn't going to be a passing of the torch of a gimmick, I guess.
Right.
I think Goldust needs to die with Goldust, and just that character needs to die. Like you said, I think when Finn comes up, he needs to be the paint my face, crazy looking dude, because he's excellent at it. And I hope this is to put Goldust down, give him his send off, him doing the JOB first, putting Rhodes over, but I hope at the same time it kills Stardust in one swift motion. I definitely hope this is death of Stardust. Rhodes emerges.
Yeah.
Brother's done. All is well in the world of the Rhodes family. It's interesting. I didn't notice the hard times thing, I guess. That's actually really kind of discouraging. I was reading an article today, actually, about... and I didn't realize this back then, but with the announcers, that one thing that they are missing is an announcer that is the historian guy, actually.
They're missing also a play-by-play guy.
Yeah, kind of. Cole's trying. Cole's trying. And it gets brought up on NXT, is you have these dudes that they know they're wrestling guys. You have Graves and Prince Albert, that dude.
Or even if they make a mistake, they'll fix it.
Yeah.
Talk about Finn again. Finn hits a sling blade, and then they're kind of like, "Oh, I've never seen that before. It's like a spinning lariat neckbreaker thing." And then the very next week, they get roasted all over social media. The very next week, he hits it again. They call it, "Oh, he hits a sling blade." It's they're not just going to act like it never happened. They're very good at addressing their issues down there.
Well, I was reading somewhere where someone brought WCW and the announcer Michael Tenay. Was it a constant dude on the panel? You had usually Heenan, Rhodes, or Schiavone, and Tenay.
Did they have different per hour or something?
Yeah, they would switch out. Tenay was
show?
There for the international wrestlers because he knew their histories. He knew Rey Mysterio's Mexican career. Yeah. He knew Jushin Liger's. He just knew everything about these listeners. Yeah. So he would be he'd spit off facts, and it was great because you had that dude. But once Hogan and Sting then came out, he wasn't on the panel anymore. They're missing that.
That's what you had on Wrestle Kingdom 9 when Jim Ross, Matt Striker did the American version.
Yeah,
Jim Ross isn't going to say, Tanahashi versus Okada, and he hits all these. This Japanese stuff's not going to come out of his mouth.
Yeah,
Striker, on the other hand, he's
nailing
it, and you have Jim Ross there for the. Oh my God, that's a big hit! The dude's down. Builds the emotion, and you have another dude who's spouting off names, moves, all that kind of stuff. And WWE, like you said, just doesn't have the dude to be to do like a rock band. They don't have a bass player.
Booker is doing well though. Booker is kind of
Booker's voice is not bass.
He's not. It's not. He's not great for announcing because of his voice, but he's doing well, and even with the Rhodes thing, he was bringing up a lot of me and my brother, and just he was doing good commentary.
He's the counterpoint to JBL and Cole, and especially JBL just kind of trying to spat off pop culture from 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think Booker's a step up from Lawler, but they need a dude whose job is to just know
everything,
and because JBL's constantly screwing crap up, and calling it fact. And it would be cool if next week they came back and fixed it.
Tyson Kidd's gimmick, dude.
Yeah.
Fact.
JBL's stealing it. And then obviously we have the Trips, Flair, promo to put kind of further the Sting development.
Yeah.
We watched that right before. What'd y'all think?
I think it was a good step forward. I mean, you can't have fake Stings every week to let play up to it. The mind games, you can only do so much in the sense of the modern aspect of wrestling.
Okay.
So I think, pulling Ric Flair out was a smart move because with him comes the history of Sting that a lot of young fans don't know about, and a lot of just WWF, WWE diehards don't know about.
Yeah.
And so with that, there's that connection immediately going, oh, well, this guy messed with Ric Flair, and Ric Flair's a big deal. So automatically that gives Sting some
cred.
Yeah.
It's definitely meant to build up Sting with a legend.
And I felt like they did a good job with that. We had kind of mentioned earlier, it got a little murky because they kept trying to stack things and make it logic out to where Triple H was better or whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a well done thing, and it was a smart move, especially after last week, which was the Stings, all the multiple Stings was good, but I know there was a lot of flack for the Sting that was in the ring.
Yeah.
With his fake wig and all, but...
Yeah, definitely. What do you think?
I mean, it's strange because what they should be doing is trying to educate the fan base on Sting. So when Ric Flair came in there should have been like a little thing always pops up. Follow WWE on Twitter or something. It should have been go to the network, watch Starrcade '92. Something like that. But the only issue is the Sting they're building is a Sting that never existed.
Yeah.
This Sting, even when he's Black and White Crow in the rafters and stuff, never had like thunder, lightning powers.
Right.
That was Undertaker. So WWE and their guys are like, let's just make him Undertaker. I mean, Sting never did this. He never transported. He never had magical powers. He was this weird dude who was really quiet when he was Crow Sting, and then came down and beat people up with a bat. That was it.
Yeah.
He never did anything. The only thing he did cool was come out of the floor of the ring once.
Yeah, he did that.
And that was it.
Because essentially...
I was excited. I remember that.
In WCW, he was like Batman.
Yes. Yeah.
And now he's supernatural.
Yes.
And I don't know if they just wanted... Because that's what they had started initially, he was just the vigilante. That's what they keep calling him. And now, they haven't mentioned that as much now. And then now it's like, it's like Undertaker. It's like, oh, I can be everywhere, and I'm this creature of... mysticism or something.
Because, I mean, the other hard part is that Flair never wrestled this Sting. I mean, he wrestled Crow Sting, obviously, but never Crow Sting.
Yeah.
He wrestled Crow Sting when he'd become kind of that 92 Sting again. I'm a phase, woo, that kind of stuff Sting. You never seen him at his broodiest. So the guy who could have been out there, but who doesn't have a connection with Triple H is Hogan.
Yeah.
Hogan's the dude you go out there and have him be really just like, listen, this is the dude who's in the rafters. He stalked me for a year. I'm like, this is the guy who's
That's
never
actually a really good point.
But Hogan and Triple H don't have any connection whatsoever.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's difficult that way. I mean, they just don't have the right guys. And then just look back 6 months ago, WWE had already booked like a master clinic on how do you get over a guy who's not here.
Yeah.
Put Paul Heyman in the ring.
Yeah.
But they don't have that type of personality for Sting.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and it's weird seeing now all these kids in Sting masks and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worked.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But it's just strange.
I know that their big concern was they didn't know if people would know who Sting was, and that's obviously got a huge pop from those that did. And then kids have now been educated, at least on, hey, he looks cool behind this mask.
He looks cool.
So they're pushing merch, and people are excited. So they're winning, by bringing Sting in. I would say the only thing that, it was good. I think it's a good way to utilize, I guess, having a legend in there that is somewhat tied to Sting. You're correct, though. It's more Surfer Sting and Ric Flair. Their whole thing was Surfer Sting. Yeah. He made Sting's career by putting him over.
And maybe that's something that they're saving. I mean, if they're smart, they'll take a cue from Peyton here
bring in RoboCop.
And bring in RoboCop.
Surfer Sting comes out.
They'll bring
with RoboCop. They both come down.
They could somehow find a way to have Hulk Hogan kind of help paint that story of Sting,
and that would be cool. And
but the issue is Hulk Hogan can only be Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if Hulk Hogan can really
Hogan's
sit down
and just warn a guy,
be somber and gravitas.
And I really don't know that Hogan can sit down and put someone over verbally.
That's true,
especially not Sting.
Yeah,
he tried real hard to bury him.
That Starrcade match was supposed to be amazing, but it had Hogan all over it.
Yeah.
So who do you have talk about Sting?
I don't know. I think that's probably maybe why they went with Flair.
Because all the WCW people are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, Hulk Hogan's the only...
Booker can say it, because Booker's around, but he never fought Sting in that way.
And I do notice that Booker, while everyone else is talking, when everyone else is saying vigilante, when he comes out, especially at the Dallas Raw, he was like, the franchise, he's here.
He's the icon.
He kept mentioning, And,
you know who could have done it? Nash and Hall. Yeah. Their clique with Trips, and they could have come down, and they were part of the NWO that Sting was stalking.
Yeah, that's the real Sting. That's the Sting they're trying to build.
Yeah.
But I just don't think they like Sting.
I know. It's so scary because Sting is a dear wrestler to me personally. Like, growing up, I grew up during the Monday Night Wars in middle school and stuff, and I loved Sting to death. And I just feel like they're going to bury him. They got the last guy from WCW they haven't buried, and they're going to do it.
And now you can tell just talking amongst us why Sting never came.
Yeah.
Because he's like, if I went over there, they're just going to screw me over. And now we're trying to find, like, okay, who could talk about Sting who's respectable? Nobody.
Yeah.
Because they've screwed everyone over and could have.
But the thing, I know that they do have respect for Sting, just because on their time in the WCW, I've read interviews and stuff about, even from Nash, of all people, being, just showing respect, not being like, had any harsh feelings towards Sting at all. Like, he was talked big game about Sting and just said, he's a good guy.
I would think, from what I can tell in a lot of the interviews and stuff I've read, is that the comparisons between Sting and Undertaker weren't just character based as much as they were also backstage based. They were both the leaders of their locker room, and they were both dudes that had everyone's respect, but they were also just like nice, and they were all about building people up, showing ropes and stuff like that, as well as
you can compare their careers really similar. I mean, they both, like, Undertaker won 5 championships.
Yeah.
Something like that. Sting's only won 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Or so. I mean, their careers mirrored each other.
It's nuts.
A lot.
And so,
one last note on Sting before we move on. One thing that I've noticed in his small appearances is that he's always wearing a t-shirt. Mm-hmm. And this scares me. It scares me because I'm afraid that
he's out of shape.
He's out of shape. Or, that's the main one. It's like if I'm Sting, if I'm Steve Borden, I know I have a match coming up in a year, 6 months that is my final defining match, possibly.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be hitting the weights, and I'm just hoping that he is. Maybe he's just still kind of like, I'm not cool with it, because I know in TNA he did that a lot. He would wrestle in a t-shirt, and that really bugged me. Because he needs, if anything, he needs the Seth Rollins just kind of sleeveless top.
And he's done that in the past. He's wore singlet, this whole singlet thing, and he might still do that because that's what Undertaker's wrestled. And you can always tell Undertaker's not necessarily in the best shape under it as well. I get that.
It just concerns me, but again, it could be nothing. It could just be that he's trying to sell merch. They're like, here, wear a shirt real quick.
I saw a Sting t-shirt in the audience last night. I was like, I need to buy that.
Yeah, it's right next to Triple H's face for a lot of that. Promo.
Yeah, and you're like, man, that's a cool t-shirt. I'm going to buy that. They probably put that guy right there. Like, here, put on this new Sting shirt. You're getting this cool seat. When we were at Raw, they were putting people in empty seats.
Yeah,
we should have paid attention to see if they were wearing, merch.
They have, like you see them, like, sign guys, like that. Those are paid. They're paid,
quote unquote.
Quotes.
I mean, they're at every single show in every single city, starting chants and stuff. They're paid dudes, like Frank the Clown and stuff like that. You see them on Twitter. They're at every single show because WWE pays them to go, and they start chants and stuff.
How do I get that job?
I don't know.
Can I apply for that?
It's a really cool job.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to fly all these cool places and sit in the audience, watch what you want to watch.
Of course, we totally would get this job. Then they'd find this podcast in the deep YouTube. Like, oh, you don't like our product? I lied. I love it. But okay, and then the last thing I guess from Raw that I can think. Oh, Ziggler.
Yes,
it was a good night for Ziggler.
It was.
I was excited about that. Like he got a microphone. Definitely very very subtly could have been taken away. Like made fun of the sex scandal in a way. Just said, "Did you have a bad Valentine's?" Man, I was in my living room by myself. It was like burn. I was
Just
excited.
kind of looking around. Right, guys? Right? No.
Like, I'm by
Just me.
myself. But yeah, I was high five.
I did too.
Yeah,
Rollins made a horrible.
It was exciting, and he was good on the mic. And then they had a really short match, but it was still just
still a
really
good
good
match,
because
yeah.
they're both incredible performers. Obviously, I'm getting burnt out on J&J.
Yeah.
I think that Rollins needs to ditch him.
But you're also burnt out on the Super Friends getting
Yeah,
together.
yeah. All that needs to be that. Maybe just needs to go to Mania, where they just feed J&J to Ryback and Rowan like a pre-match, and we're done.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like that idea because I want them away from Rollins for WrestleMania. Because Rollins can wrestle, and if he's on WrestleMania, and let's say they give him 15 minutes, it's going to be one of the better matches on the card.
Absolutely. And we want a clean finish. We don't want to like last night. It was a great match, and it was about to end cleanly. Then obviously they run in, blah blah blah. Super Friends come out, blah blah blah. Whatever. They're building towards who knows what.
They're building towards something.
Yeah.
And you watch how they, and this may just be something to kind of keep an eye on. Rollins has been losing more.
Uh-huh.
So for a while he'd win every single match. He was a smart guy. He was the architect. He was putting all these things. He was beating John Cena, and then he started losing. He lost in Triple Threat. I think he lost to Ziggler, right?
He was going to lose last night.
Yeah.
He
he's
was done.
He's in position to lose, and usually with Money in the Bank guys, they go on a big losing streak right before they cash in.
Okay.
So I mean, if this continues, a WrestleMania cash in, maybe
That'd be
calling
awesome.
it.
It's never happened, so it'd
lead
be
pipe
cool.
lock, clink.
No,
Segment, guys. Segment.
It'd be cool. And I'm more or less like the Super Friends. I want Ziggler moved away from him. I want Ziggler.
Oh, yeah.
I like that Ziggler's kind of made to look like the leader again,
Yeah.
considering he
Now it's
was the
Cena's.
dude that carried the team at Survivor
Right.
Series.
And he mentioned that, and nobody corrected him.
Yeah, and then for 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, Ryback's for some reason been the leader and coming out.
They
and,
just took turns playing theme
yeah,
music,
I would like to see Ziggler moved away. Obviously, a big mystery is where's Randy Orton. Because we need to be building that if that's what's going to happen. But Randy Orton, he's not even being
I think, obviously, Fast Lane will tell us a lot, because it could...
Yeah.
This Seth Rollins and Ziggler, it's either a one-off or it's building towards
I would
Mania.
I would prefer Ziggler Rollins at Mania than I would Orton Rollins myself.
I don't know.
Um,
I don't know.
Because
Orton can bring it.
Yeah.
Orton is so good at what
I
he
like
does.
Orton. I like Orton. I just...
And Orton's entered this point where now when he returns, he'll be that cool anti-hero.
Yeah, that's true. Orton will get to come back as what Orton's best at, which is not affiliated with anyone. I think that I just got burnt out on Orton, Authority Orton.
Yeah.
Because
I
he was
didn't
just
like
kind of the
Authority Orton.
frustrated emo kid.
And he's come back. He's mad at them. Orton's always been that guy that's had his eye out of belt more than anything else. He's the one that's really always been good at keeping belts.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks better. You could say the match would be both matches to say Ziggler versus Rollins compared to Orton versus Rollins.
Yeah.
The matches, in my mind, would be equal quality wise, but for different reasons. But Rollins gets a better rub off of Orton.
Yeah.
Him in the
That's
ring
true.
at WrestleMania with Orton looks better for him than against Ziggler.
That's
Nothing
true.
bad against Ziggler. It's just one dude's won the heavyweight championship 12 times. The other dude hasn't.
Yeah. You're looking at it at Rollins. I look at it at Ziggler. I just want Ziggler to go over.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Because Ziggler, that would be big for Ziggler to beat his Authority guy. But who knows? I think it's interesting that we're this close to Mania and not even half of it's really set in stone at this point. But obviously Fastlane will end and then we'll start.
But I think part of that has been just this. Maybe this is going to start becoming the norm for WrestleMania.
Yeah, just it's
the
it's
subscription
random.
and the subscription. Not just how it is with the network and stuff. They have to keep the subscribers happy. Because used to it was we got to keep the viewers happy, kind of, but it doesn't really matter because we have ad money coming in. They're paying $75 to watch WrestleMania in HD.
Yeah.
That's not the case anymore. It's $9.99.
Yeah.
It's $9.99. Yes. I mean, so you really have to keep these guys. Like you watch YouTube channels and stuff. They're always, if they miss, say if you have scheduled YouTube things and they miss a Wednesday, their Friday post is, sorry I missed Wednesday. So guys, so it's all about subscribers and keeping your subscribers somewhat happy and keeping them watching. Just like last year, Daniel Bryan's not supposed to be in that main event.
This year, not supposed to be
not supposed to be in this main event, and it sounded like he's going to be.
Yeah.
So it could just be very reactive style booking, which is really interesting.
Okay. All right.
Maybe.
Fair enough.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's interesting watching the last 2 years. They just be randomly booked on the fly. And then the last thing from Raw, Wyatt promos. I love them.
They're great. Yeah.
Right, like I don't know. I don't know if they just have one guy like writing just Wyatt stuff, but he should be writing like everyone's stuff.
Probably. That's probably the way it works. It's probably because 20 people trying to make the same story all together sounds like...
I think Christopher Nolan is writing Bray Wyatt stuff. Like, he's just sending in scripts to Bray Wyatt.
Texting Vince McMahon.
Yeah, like
say something about a broken angel's wing or something.
Yeah, like an angel with charred wings, like, coming. It's just like, wow, that's really good. But Wyatt's just incredible at his character, and incredible at selling. Like, right now, selling nothing, because we don't know what he's selling.
Because everyone thinks it's Undertaker.
Everyone thinks it's Undertaker, but I keep always reading every day that someone see Undertaker somewhere in the world and he looks just like crap.
That has to be just leaked. Because I can see Triple H on the Stone Cold podcast talking about having to work reality.
Yeah, and that could be it.
But kayfabe's different now. They have to release all the stuff. Undertaker's not going to be
They might have just had...
He's dead, he's broken. So then that gives Wyatt's promos more weight when he actually is able to pull him onto TV through his words.
And he's looking good.
Because he's insulting him constantly.
Yeah. And I love it. We have talked about it could be the swerve where Bray Wyatt's actually going to wrestle Sting at WrestleMania, and Triple H won't step in a ring. It'll be the Authority turns to Wyatt and almost like hired gun Wyatt to go, and put, and that Sting could go over a guy, on that. That's not necessarily a guy that you'd mind losing to Sting, whereas Taker or even Trips, you're like, I don't see either of them losing to the franchise of WCW in any capacity,
I think that if it's
Trips might be willing to do business. I think
But Trips has to. I mean, if it's something like this is getting WrestleMania is the season finale.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that ties the bow together. So Sting has to be the dude who stops the Authority.
That'd be cool.
If you're trying to overarching, like if you're watching Dexter or whatever, what's the long story at the end of the season? This is the long story at the end of the season. The mid finale was Survivor Series, and now they're going to the finale. So,
all right,
it has to be something like that. They can't just fight each other because they don't like each other.
Yeah.
Sting never did that. Sting was always about injustice and stuff. He was the Shield before the Shield,
So my question is, what do you think the implications will be for their match? I mean, is it just I'm going to beat you or you're going to beat me? Is it?
I think we'll find out at Fast Lane.
Is it for
Fast Lane?
Rights?
This is what's going to be. We're actually probably going to finally hear Sting's intentions.
Yeah.
And I hope they're cool. I hope he doesn't talk.
Hope they're written by the Bray Wyatt writer.
Quite frankly, I hope he stuns him and then rips his makeup off and it's Stone Cold. Everything. I just like Stone Cold reveals.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Raw recap. Gosh, that always takes way too long. Hopefully after WrestleMania, we're just like, Raw sucked. Moving on.
No, I won't. But anyway, I have to go back to it one time. There's stipulations and stuff talking about it. It'll be weird because Triple H's character is very rarely cared about stipulations.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about it, so I kind of went silent for a second. In the Randy Orton Triple H WrestleMania they had, the stipulation was, and this is after Randy Orton had DDT'd Stephanie and kissed her in the mouth and stuff.
That was a good angle.
It was great, but the stipulation was if Triple H is DQ'd, he loses the belt or something like that. There's some sort of DQ thing that was weird. And so you're thinking, oh, Randy Orton's got him so pissed off. He's attacked his wife. He's done horrible things to his family and stuff.
Wasn't there a home invasion angle?
Yes, that he would do it. But instead, Triple H just wrestles a straight, clean match, wins, and then hits him with the sledgehammer.
Yeah.
So it's just strange.
Yeah.
His character's never really fit.
No.
As anything, really. This has always been its own thing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes with Stephanie McMahon. Triple H will always be this. He married in giant asterisks is what he did. That character.
Yeah.
So, and that's and that helps him a little bit whenever you have things where I think that helped his Undertaker matches because you're like, this dude's cocky enough to put himself over because he has the authority to do it.
Yeah.
But it adds to the match. And then again, if he wrestles Sting. You want to say Sting's going to win, but you're like, that dude's cocky enough to bury the last dude from WCW. So I don't know. It helps his character. It hurts his character. It's a weird character for sure. Trips will always be a weird character as long as he exists. I do like that Ric Flair acknowledged you're not a full-time wrestler anymore.
Yeah. Right.
And that, time off is your worst enemy. I think that's a cool angle that they might mention more. Of course.
They probably mention it directly because of Punk.
Yeah. And of course, you obviously have... Trips could easily just say, well, Sting hasn't wrestled in here either. So, we're safe. Yeah.
Especially if they act like TNA doesn't exist.
Exactly. And he hasn't wrestled in like 12 years.
Ric Flair could be like, I saw him in TNA, we fought. He sucks now. Fine.
So
just kick his ass.
Yeah, so you're doing good. You're safe. So moving on, NXT Rival. That happened.
Fantastic.
It was great. It was fantastic. Again, it was a wrestling pay-per-view,
right.
As opposed to a sports entertainment wrestling or sports entertainment pay-per-view. Favorite parts.
All
of it. You just all.
I mean, from beginning to end, it was a quality show. There was no filler. There was no gimmicks of like something backstage going on or something ridiculous. I mean, everything was built around wrestling. Everything was built around good rivalries that were built up, feuds that had some history to them. I mean, when even the women's match outdoes most of what the main show's doing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Entirely.
And told stories. Multiple stories.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've confessed a lot of love for Paige in the past.
Yes.
But I have fallen in love with Bailey.
You traitor.
Dibs.
I'm calling dibs on Paige now.
Okay, you can have Paige because Bailey stole my heart. Man, that little firecracker wanted it.
Sweetheart.
And she is. She's a sweetheart, and her finisher has a hug. In it. So yeah, and gosh,
I remember watching that instead of Bailey's the woman you marry. But Banks is the woman you wish you married. Sasha Banks.
In a perfect world,
that's like the perfect porn name too. Sasha
It
Banks.
really is.
It does sound very risque.
most diva names could be
like if you go on like Nude Vista, search Sasha Banks, you'd probably find
there's probably
a lot of stuff.
There's probably one there.
We are sponsored by them, by the way. That's this week's sponsor for the podcast. And that was our plug. Go to that website and type in Sasha Banks. See what happens.
Fun for hours.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe or 5 minutes.
Or
however, you're either you're a Ric Flair or you're a Justin Gabriel. So
from now on, that's how I'm doing that. Oh man. Yeah, man, that's a great icebreaker.
Okay, that is. So yeah, NXT Rival again was. This is like they're still like in their single digit of pay-per-views, aren't they?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
This is like the only. They're just coming into their second year.
Yeah, this is like the 5th takeover total. I think maybe something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually word that since this was only a 2-month, I guess period between the last two, they're actually going to try and cram in 6 this year. Maybe they're going to maybe try and do every 2 months now instead of every 3. Because it's, again, Triple H is called NXT. So it's kind of becoming its own brand.
Yeah.
It does look like they're no longer necessarily putting, like they said, hindrances on those wrestlers, making them work a style they're not used to. It looks like a lot of those dudes are keeping their international, like you called it once, Japanese style, where when the match goes, they go. Yeah. There's no circle, lock up. They just kind of run at each other and do their Japanese style of wrestling. You did mention, though, we were talking through text, like in a very nerdy way, about the pay-per-view the next day, and you did mention that Zayn and Owens did wrestle kind of a WWE style match,
especially compared to their ROH, PWG battles and stuff. Where, I mean, it was much more subdued, but it made sense.
Yeah.
Like in WWE, they always tell you to, and even any sort of wrestling thing, usually they tell you to slow it down.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean move slower or land the mat. It means everything you do has to have an extreme amount of intent.
Yeah.
So even Owens having Zayn in a headlock and stuff, he's reaching it. He's screaming at the fan stuff. He's making every single thing matter. That's what they want you to do in the WWE style, because they want to kind of build that tension of everything matters. It's not like, because Lucha Underground is completely different. They're supposed to be like superheroes, literally. so they can take suicide dives, hit the ground, pop up, run back inside. That stuff, none of that matters. You know, it's like little things. WWE, they want you invested in the little things. So that's why like people were kind of talking to me about the difference between Hideo and Finn, and they're saying Finn's going to be more successful. In my mind, it's actually the opposite, because Hideo already wrestles, and I didn't really get it, but he wrestles more of a WWE underdog face style. He's got that the fighting spirit. He can get his ass kicked for a while, and then start hulking up for do the Daniel Bryan thing, and start guessing and getting ahead of steam. While Finn still wrestles like I loved Neville and Finn's match, but you can tell it's still very much into the Japanese independent style of we're just going to do all the crazy things all at once. Hope you guys like it, and everyone's. I mean, the people who watch NXT is going to love it. Yeah, but on a main show, that match would have to be like a main event of SummerSlam or something like that for them to get all that in.
Do you think like what we're going to be seeing in NXT is the guys that are probably be getting called up are going to start like maybe their last match will look more WWE? Do you think you'll start seeing those dudes getting closer to main roster call up wrestling more? Because Zayn's probably one of the next in line to go up.
The rumor is Zayn is up. Yeah, that's the rumor. That he's going up because there's always debuts after WrestleMania.
Yeah, he went to Abu Dhabi.
I knew that. Like
he's out for a month already.
Yeah.
So he's going to, because NXT does taping, so he's going to miss a whole round of tapings.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess they're seeing if he's ready.
Okay. And then I've heard that Owens was never meant to stay in NXT long.
I don't see how he could because his age.
Yeah, that he's supposed to get that's supposed to be a pretty brief stop. He's supposed to have a pretty brief run.
Yeah,
with
they
that
built him as Brock Lesnar of the NXT. Essentially.
Yeah, like he's going to be the beast.
Because his whole thing is he just
and right now his angle is money
out to hurt you.
Yeah,
that's all. Well, it's a very strange angle.
Yeah,
it's just not personal. Whatever,
and then he
just
a family.
beats his ass and power bombs on his head 3 times in a row, and that's it. I mean, it's very personal, but he has the idea he's a manipulator and he's a liar.
And that's
a great gimmick.
I'm glad you mentioned the power bombs because I remember every power bomb thinking, I thought WWE banned these. So again, it kind of shows the NXT's operating under their own thing. They're getting like their own leeway and stuff. Whereas they're not allowed to power bomb in WWE anymore because you can fall on your neck and hurt yourself. Whereas NXT, they're like, dude, go at it.
Go for it.
What was Owens' finisher right now in NXT?
Power bomb.
Is it power bomb?
He's doing a pop up power bomb.
Yeah, because I know like in like
package pile
Indies,
driver.
it was a package pile driver, which is like the most dangerous looking thing I've ever seen.
Oh, I'll take one of those, and I do quite know how to do it. I mean, it's super safe if you have it right. You have their arms.
Yeah.
So there's no way the head's going to go.
Yeah.
But the guy picked me up, and he went and he moved one of his arms, which is the only thing protecting me.
And you're like, no.
And so I just crashed down. Pretty sure I had a concussion. It was dreadful.
Oh my gosh!
It's a safer move than you think.
Oh, okay. I was watching
El Generico's finishing move. Sami Zayn's finishing move was a brainbuster.
Oh,
brainbuster
dude,
on
turnbuckle. Yeah, the brainbusters on turnbuckle look rough.
There's no way I'd ever take that.
Every time I saw El Generico do one of those, I was like, that guy's dead. Like, he just killed that dude.
Killed the man.
It also always looked messy, too. It's just like, I dropped you and you landed on your head. I'm sorry.
You're dead.
Yeah, like,
1, 2, 3.
One of the things about NXT that I notice a lot is that all of those guys seem smaller than me, and they're more athletic.
That's the issue.
And that's the big thing. It's like when they jump up to the big leagues, they're going up against Cesaros and Big Shows and Kanes and Luke Harpers. And
hopefully 2 of those guys won't be there by the time they get there.
But the thing about it is the WWE going to accept the fact that most of their wrestlers are smaller guys? Because they're, other than Owens, who really isn't that much bigger.
No, I think Owens like 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, he's not
maybe.
that much bigger.
Yeah.
Finn, how tall is Finn?
I don't know how tall Finn is.
He was a junior in New Japan, so he's under 225. I would guess he's around 215, but he's a super cut.
Yeah.
But he's taller than Neville, but not like.
I think Neville's my
not
height.
like a foot taller.
I think Neville's like 5.
Neville's like 5'6".
Yeah,
I'm
taller than that.
Because Finn is only 5'11".
5'11", yeah.
He's under 6 feet.
Yeah, he's shorter. Yeah, Punk was like 6'2", which is weird because Punk looks small.
Yeah, and that's
but the problem is Punk never was in shape.
Because that's essentially you're having a bunch of Daniel Bryans coming into the WWE when Vince McMahon is all about I need my guys big and powerful,
larger than life.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Finn is larger than life.
Right. Yes.
Even just his intro when he's not painted up. That's why I'm worried about Kenta, because Kenta New Japan is picking up 400-pound dudes to go to sleep and stuff.
I teased one of those too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I don't think he's there.
I almost threw up.
He needs a better finishing move.
Yeah, but if I was WWE, I'd say do it.
Just do it.
Do it. Take Punk's move.
Probably at the WrestleMania show has to be, but as I was reading the article about the Baylor stuff. That the characters he needs to go up. He's already done.
Yeah.
I mean, once he becomes painted, he's super god and he can't be touched.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an Undertaker type of style. He's taking all these moves. He's taking Phoenix, which I think the only reason why Neville did the Phoenix Splash off the second rope is just to do one up on Seth Rollins because he did the Phoenix Splash and the Triple Threat off the top. But who's beating Finn painted?
Well, he's number one contender against
no one.
Keith.
Kevin
Owens. But,
which will be a fun match. Because you have this really, really pretty style versus a dude who just wants to grab your head and smash it into the ring post.
Right.
But are y'all guys kind of like me and you're just kind of hoping no call-up ever happens and it just stays this way?
Finn seems like a visiting star.
Okay.
To me, he does.
So
when he's walking in, it's like all these people are opening for the headlining band. He seems like a headlining band already.
Okay.
Just how he moves. His entrance
no,
alone.
he's definitely like he's over.
There's like,
the fact
he's
that his
charismatic.
He's
just charisma. Like he's definitely got that factor.
And just seeing that on a WWE level would be ridiculous.
I think he has that proverbial it factor that they always say. You know that only so many guys get. And I think Ambrose has that it factor as well. I think Ambrose is a dude that's going to be over no matter what he's doing.
Yeah.
And Finn seems that way as well. Like he's not really having to work at it as much as he's just you like him. You're like I like everything you do.
All his years.
But who knows? You know, if he goes up soon, Vince McMahon's going to try and give him some crappy gimmick.
Because that's like, do they switch his gimmick up? Because that's what they've done with a few of them. Is
WWE wants to create their own characters. They're like, even if you came in and you're Prince Devitt, you're whatever.
It's hard to touch it, honestly.
What?
I do not think you can touch Balor.
That's what I'm saying. Like
okay.
they tweak everybody that's come up so far.
Like he's not going to be painted. Like they said, they're not going to bring you up unless they have something for you.
Yeah.
Now that may go, it may not go. Yeah. Like they brought up Adam Rose, he had a feud coming up. When they bring you up, they at least have something for you to do.
Yeah.
They don't just bring you up and then you're a dude who wrestles for a little bit and then you start gaining some steam.
Yeah.
So if he comes up, he comes up. You know, and I think he's talented enough to where
you don't touch him.
He's good to go.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's also some people being disappointed and stuff because the second time they're waiting. Okay, what's he going to paint himself up now? Because if you follow him in the Indies and stuff, Indies in Japan, he always did a different thing.
Yeah.
But even when you look at his name, Finn Balor, they're two Irish myths. I think Finn is like a mythological knight or something like that from an Irish folklore, and the Balor part was this demon character that the Finn guy fought.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. He's battling inside himself. So when he needs to tap into that demonic stuff, so the paint's always going to be kind of the same, the big mouth, and then it's going to be slightly different. Like this man had wings on his back this time. But I know people were kind of voicing, because there were times he's dressed up as the Joker, like looked 100% just like Dark Knight Joker. And then other times he was Venom, he was like Spider-Man 2000 or whatever it was, Carnage.
Yeah.
So he's not going to do that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah,
but
obviously.
I think
I still know. Because they didn't touch Adam Rose, man. Adam Rose is Adam Rose.
Are there copyright issues with him dressing up?
Yes. There's
extreme
copyright issues.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I think that's the big issue. But again, that doesn't mean he can't have like a different type of... It's like Macho Man. It's like Macho Man didn't have the same outfit. So.
In, it's like 2009, 2010, Rey Mysterio came out as the Joker. But I mean, it was more of an homage rather than just straight up.
Because he always did like Spider-Man and stuff
like
that.
He's done Spider-Man. He's done Avatar one year. That was a weird year.
Yeah, that is kind of strange.
Yeah, he wrestled Punk that year. Remember that?
Maybe it doesn't really matter.
I don't know. I really don't know. As long maybe if you don't say the name, it's
But they want to be able to sell merchandise.
That's true.
And his shirt is super cool.
And hopefully there is copyright issues. And when Adrian Neville comes up, he's not Mighty Mouse.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be dreadful.
Yeah.
He's so good. Because the last time he was on Raw, they were doing the build-up for the Neville, Sammy, Breeze kid match.
Yeah.
They had that tag team match. Yeah, that was a great match. They had that tag team match, and Neville's the one who got the super pops on Raw.
Yeah.
Because he's the one doing back handsprings into the corner and coming in. He got to all his cool moves, hit the red arrow. He can be over on the main roster. He could just be
Adrian Neville and be fine.
Done.
And that's what I think. If it's developmental and they're telling us, hey, watch NXT and love it. Why change it? Like why go? Oh, but they're a different guy on Raw.
Because Raw is less intense. If you look at the spotlight, it's less on the ring.
Yeah.
NXT spotlight is completely centered on the ring.
Yeah.
Raw's, you need to be good at Total Divas. You need to be good at the Raw Fallouts. You need to be good on the YouTube shows. And it's just less about actually wrestling.
Yeah. And speaking of the whole Mighty Mouse gimmick and stuff like that, obviously, and I think that's, why there's a lot of fear and just, some of these guys who like NXT getting called up is because we're afraid they're going to get lost in the shuffle. They're pretty much going to be called up into a Cena world. And things like that, where there's, you have Big Show and Kane still taking up 2 main event spots for some unknown reason, and things like that. And they're being called up to this world that, they'll just get maybe possibly lost in the shuffle when they're thriving on this other show we love so much. But it's also because there's all these backstage rumblings that Vince doesn't really like NXT. Yeah. He doesn't like that. And I've even read recently that John Cena's had to, call out the locker room on saying, these young dudes down there in Florida are outdoing us every, time they do something, and stuff like that, and blah, blah, blah. And you have to wonder if this Mighty Mouse rumor and stuff like that is just to bury, because Vince McMahon's proven himself to be a vindictive dude. Yes. If you step on his toes, he's just gonna, even as horrible business as it is, because Adrian Neville's money, Finn Balor's money and all this stuff, he will, out of pride, possibly just say, get out of here.
Well, look at the WCW when they came. That invasion angle should have been so much more.
He buried everyone, And that's, again, why Sting, we're all freaked out a little bit because everyone from WCW except... And Booker even got buried. At he should have gone over WrestleMania over trips, but he didn't.
Have you read the reasons why he didn't go over?
No.
Because that next night, who came back? Goldberg.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're not going to have Goldberg versus Booker. You need to get the big heel. And so apparently the idea was Booker was going to win.
But then Goldberg signed.
He got signed, and Goldberg needs a big heel to go against Triple H.
Trips needs to bury another WCW guy.
Yeah.
Two for the price of one.
Yeah. Hey, you're going to bury Booker, and we're going to give you Goldberg. And then Scott Steiner maybe. Or who knows? Who knows where this will start? Stop.
Stop. We're finished.
And also the huge thing is Kalisto's supposed to go up. But Kalisto's rumored to be a gay hairdresser.
Apparently he knocked it out of the park.
Where in the world does that come from?
From WWE and Vince McMahon.
But that's going back to the 90s where you had a wrestling lumberjack. You had a wrestling mountie. You had a wrestling dentist. You had a wrestling hockey player. It's just all these...
They have a whole... The Monday Night Wars, where that gets referenced all the time.
Yeah.
The early 90s WWF characters were occupations.
Yeah. And it was stupid, and no one liked it. Why are we looking at a bad idea that almost tanked us back in the 90s and going, let's do that again?
Because that's what Vince McMahon really wants to do. The only reason he jumped into the Attitude Era was out of survival.
Out of survival mode. But it's just... I don't know. It's just from a business standpoint, it just sounds like the dumbest thing ever. Because, you have Johnny Curtis was an incredible wrestler on the Indies and stuff like that. But as Fandango, because we hate it, because it's why is he a ballroom dancer? Why is he wrestling?
Who knows?
Even kids, I don't think understand it. They're like, who is this dude?
Why is he?
And why? Why is he a thing? If he's a dancer, why is he wrestling? It's we're at that. I think we're just at a different age in culture where that's not going to fly even for children.
Right.
They're not going to understand a gay hairdresser. Especially considering WWE's not going to handle gay in any sort of appropriate, politically correct fashion.
They'll handle it about as well as they've handled a New Day. So
yeah, it's going to be over the top racist. Darren Young might quit because he's already mad that they're going to countries that are intolerant of homosexuality.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how they appeased him. They brought back primetime players. Maybe that was his demand.
We'll give you a slight push. Just put a
we'll give you Titus O'Neil back. Just stop getting on the internet. Stop raising a bunch of crap on the internet. We can't fire you over that. So
I don't think, man, it'd be very difficult for them to fire Darren Young.
Yeah, it would, because especially especially over that.
If he was really smart, he could use that to get his way to the top.
Yeah.
And he already looks like John Cena.
Yeah.
He looks exactly like John Cena. I'm glad you said it, because I've thought that for so long. I think
That's why he grew the beard.
I bet John Cena said, he has to grow a beard. I'm sick of it.
It's like looking in a mirror.
But the beard works on Darren Young.
He looks like some sort of like road warrior.
He looks
almost
mean. I'm like, man, I would not fight Darren Young at all now.
In my mind, if you put him on the set of Mad Max, he looks like he's there.
Like he's
ready
there.
To go.
Put some leather on him. A different type of thing. But
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, we liked Rival. I actually feel bad. We have to go back to Raw, and people, anyone that might have been listening to probably turned off because we forgot to mention
Roman Reigns
and Daniel Bryan. We forgot to mention the whole reason Raw exists right now. What were y'all's thoughts on that?
That was probably the best part of the evening, was when those two finally started actually fighting each other instead of teasing us with, "Oh, I can't be mean to you because you're a babyface too, and the crowd will hate me." So
okay,
but it was definitely. I mean, Peyton, you talked about it before we even started. It was a slow burn to that moment, and they were teasing it to us for 3 weeks now, and it finally came to, and that was. It was good.
Okay.
I mean, it's just so when people, and it's weird because Vince has always said that people don't want to buy to watch a wrestling match.
Yeah, no, that's false.
They want to see a fight.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about stories and stuff, they're like, "Oh, we're not going to watch some dude handshake and put some headlocks on people." There's a niche that does that, but otherwise, people want to see a fight.
Yeah.
And last night they got a fight, and it was awesome.
It was.
I mean, when you get guys, especially someone like, I don't want to say it's all Daniel, but Daniel's an extremely good dude at what he does.
Yeah.
One of the best in the world at what he does. And he can make a lot of people look very, very good.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been getting into Roman's ears like, dude, just hit me.
Something,
hit me really hard. Because he can take it. I mean, Daniel's the dude who wrestled with a detached retina.
Uh-huh.
It got knocked out of he detached his retina 2 minutes into a match and wrestled another hour without being able to see out of his left eye. Okay. It's like he's a dude who can just take hits and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's this amazing dude. And then it's going to make Roman look very good to have especially if it's a back and forth. They're both just throwing bombs at each other. If it's built kind of like the Neville Finn match, where it's like they're both just going big move, big move, big move, big move.
Because I think any dead time is going to show that Roman is a green.
Oh yeah. If it's anything over 15 minutes, I'll be completely surprised. If it's 15 minutes of just straight action of each of them trying to kill each other immediately,
Fastlane's going to be a make or break match for Roman. He's got to look good in it, or it'll turn on him again. But obviously, I expect like a no finish at Fastlane as well.
With Lesnar and being
I think somehow it no finishes and it ends up triple threat at WrestleMania. But it was good. I liked the ending. It was cool. I think what they've done with Reigns is they haven't turned him heel as much as they made him a tweener, I guess is what they call him. He's not face or heel. He's just... He exists.
Yeah. And they've done that with Bryan as well.
Yeah.
And Bryan's doing...
kinda.
Yeah, he's doing...
Which is weird.
He's causing distractions and stuff, but...
He's face, but he's doing heel things.
Yeah, but I mean, Roman's doing more. I mean, Roman's running into the ring and actually punching Big in the face to cost Bryan the match.
Yeah.
So he's doing it a little bit, even though you can say he's justified because he got speared, because he got thrown in the way.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a bunch of stuff you can explain it all away. But like I said, Roman is being more heelish, but they're both being kind of jerks to each other.
Because even when they were split up and they handshook, Bryan made the first move to go back, which is
awesome.
I thought that was kind of cool, actually. I was like, I like that Bryan did it over Reigns. Because I think if Reigns had done it, then he's full heel.
Yeah, it's like, you're this big giant dude. Come on, man. Bryan's being held back. You know? So it's cool they're both just going at each other.
That did well. Okay, so we can move on from Raw. I was just afraid that I forgot.
It's definitely helping build interest for next Sunday.
I agree. I think they're doing well on damage control from Royal Rumble. Then I wanted to talk finishers last. I think...
Finisher for the finishers.
Yeah, we're gonna finish with a finisher.
New segment.
And I think my thing is I was telling y'all before. I do subscribe to the WWE Network.
Who doesn't?
For $9.99.
Raise of hands. Who does not? All right, guys, you saw it.
Okay, so everyone in the room subscribes to the WWE Network. And I've been watching a lot of old Flair matches and Steamboat matches, and obviously Flair and Steamboat matches, and I just kind of realized finishers used to not necessarily be the most commonplace thing, and I like it. I love it. I even like Harley Race because all these Harley Race matches I've watched, even he's been wrestling for an hour and he gets the pin, he's trying to kick out rather than lying there dead. He's trying, but he doesn't get it, and it sells it. The psychology of that is I love that. I'd love to see a dude still attempting to kick out or get up, but he's done.
Yeah,
he's been taken to his limit,
out, yeah.
And he's done rather than getting curb stomped or F5 and then lying there dead. Yeah, it was because even if you picked apart most finishers, they would not necessarily take you out.
Right.
Yeah. Curb stomp would.
Yeah, curb stomp would. Unless your finisher is directly to the head or something, it's kind of stupid. I mean, even in F5, I'm you spin me in a circle and I landed on the mat.
Exactly.
It looks cool, but I feel like I'd get up. Yeah.
You'd be like, ow, I landed wrong, but...
Yeah, I mean, I found my keys. Why was my keys in my pocket? So I wanted to get y'all's opinion on finishers. Do y'all like them, or are you happy that they're so... And you can even look at even when they started becoming more commonplace, they meant the end of a match. Mm-hmm. Now you might have 3 or 4 in one match, especially pay-per-views. It's pay-per-views, everyone gets an adrenaline shot before they go out there. You can take more. Whereas on Raw...
one, you're done.
Yeah. Raw, it's 1, you're done. Pay-per-view, you got to take 4 F5s, and then you're done.
Then you could
then you can go down.
Well, it's different. I mean... Yeah, it's just strange. I mean, how it's done now, they're used for storytelling.
Yeah,
obviously. You have to overcome obstacles and stuff, and those are things to do. WWE did it great with Cena Brock the first time. Cena gets hit in F5 15 seconds in the match, and then spends the rest of the match getting dumped on his head.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, sometimes they do it really, really well. Other times, like you said, it's just a lot of people throwing super kicks.
Yeah. And I hate that the super kick is just part of some people's things. I hate that that's just a move.
Independent wrestling coming up.
I hate it.
Young Bucks.
What I've noticed is that there's a lost art to the grappling.
Yeah.
They still do moves like Daniel Bryan does the yes lock and stuff, but more so on the opponent's side. There's been and Rusev does the what's his move called, the accolade. And I just feel like they do a terrible job of telling stories with the opponents. There's so many times we've sat there and watched it, and we're they could fight a little bit more, or way it's almost now, especially on Raw, they just tap out immediately. They're just oh, it hurts, and Stone Cold, his whole career was defined on him not giving up, the blood pouring on his face, telling that story, and both guys did not lose any track.
Yeah.
And they just switched roles essentially in that match, and I feel that they could do a better job of keeping their roster not looking like crap by just being forced to be oh, I'm in, okay, tap, I'm out. I feel that's one of the things that it's the alternative to the finisher move that they use more often, and I feel that just needs more focus, and I think that just comes not so much from the grappler himself, but from the opponent that's selling that point.
Okay,
it's different. Daniel Bryan in ROH for a while, he used the cattle mutilation as his submission, as a bridging chicken wing submission. It's really cool, but you can't see his face, so he never really transitioned over to WWE. But he didn't really have a move.
Yeah.
So what he used was a small package.
Yeah.
And for in ROH, he was a 2-year-long champion or something. And for a bit of that, he was winning matches with small packages. He'd call him I have the smallest package in wrestling, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Always kind of funny about it. But like you said, you don't see that anymore. You see a lot more. You see a lot of victories and stuff coming off of non-finishers. Mm-hmm. You watch WWE, you turn in. I can probably bet you $500 that someone distracted somebody and somebody lost via.
Yeah, that's the way the.
Well, that's the thing. It seems it's either a distraction roll up or someone nailed their finisher and got the pin. I couldn't tell you what. I couldn't tell you who, but it just says a lot because I know that a few years ago I was watching Raw and CM Punk won a match by just doing the Muay Thai kick.
Yeah.
And and that still resonates with me to my day because I was like,
Kane.
But that just resonates with me to this day because it's like, that match ended without a GTS or an Anaconda Vice. Like, and I loved it. I was like, that should happen more. Like, because it makes this. But at the same time, I gave a lot of thought to this topic today in finishers because I was just, again, I was watching a lot of old school wrestling and I was really just enjoying it. Gosh, there was one match, I think it was Harley Race and Flair, where like one of them picked him up and then it's just they fell. And then it went into a pin.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I was like, that's great storytelling right there. It's like, because they've just taken each other so far.
And that's it.
And pinfalls, like, back then mattered. If someone, like, went in to pin someone, you're like, this could end. But now today, it's like, Cena hasn't hit his five-knuckle shoulder block,
right.
And
that's why, like, the Undertaker-Brock Lesnar's weird, because, like, it's only the third F5.
Yeah.
Brock only has one finishing move, so he's going to have to hit it multiple times, and then he just wins.
Yeah.
Or, like, if you even look at I've seen some blog sites call it the Knee Plus, Daniel Bryan's Busaki knee, running knee.
Mm-hmm.
When he first hit that on John Cena, I knew what it was. I was like, oh my God, it's Kenta's Busaki knee.
Yeah.
But were you guys like,
No.
what did he just do? How did he just win by running at him?
Right.
Hit it with a knee.
Because it feels weird because WWE has entrenched us into this. You must hit, like you said, these moves for the story to advance. So that's why I'm really looking forward to the Rusev Cena match because Cena's not tapping out.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever even has. So Rusev is going to have to come up with something.
Or he'll just make him
that would
pass
be interesting.
out. So.
Yeah, that's what they
could
always
steal
do.
the
It's
Rock
stupid.
thing, or the Stone Cold thing.
Yeah.
And I've been, but at the same time, I like that maybe finishers are now, maybe because we're in an age where they're just hit numerous times, people are kicking out of them if they're just now no longer, they're just becoming part of a match.
Yeah.
And maybe that is better. Maybe it's just,
it depends on more
rather than it just being an exclamation point on the match, it just goes, as soon as Cena hits it in AA, it's over. You now know he may not be.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that, I guess.
It's different, yeah. I mean, like Daniel Bryan, and no one's listening to this, but I'm pretty sure no one's ever kicked out of the knee.
Okay.
No one that he's pinned them. Like in the WrestleMania thing, he needs somebody and he got thrown out, and Randy Orton pinned him, and Batista kicked out or something like that.
Yeah.
But no one's ever kicked out of him hitting the knee and then him getting the pin. So stuff like that. Very few people have kicked out of the curb stomp. If any. That
and those are things that, like, man, JR used to be really good at, like, pointing that out. Because I remember the first time I think someone kicked out of a rock bottom, like, everyone went nuts.
Yeah.
Like, because no one kicked out of the rock bottom for a really long time.
There's stuff like in that triple threat match, the moment Rollins was put in the STF, I was like, oh, it's over, done.
Yeah.
John Cena taps out everybody to this move.
Yeah.
And he hadn't pulled it out in a while, and he puts it in, it's like, done.
Yeah.
Like even Undertaker, who's
had Hell's Gate.
Had Hell's Gate stuff. He has all these god finishing moves, choke slams, last ride, tombstone. Added another one because those other ones were getting stale.
Yeah.
So that part of it's kind of strange.
That's true. So finishers, I think we're at a weird place with them. I think that at the same time, I'm kind of undecided. I wish that, part of me wishes they were more rare, and that just kind of every once in a while you hit one, like brawls, and like maybe if they were just pay-per-view things almost, or just rare, it'd just be cool. But at the same time, the fact that they're now taking 3 or 4, it at least makes matches somewhat, because there was a time there for a while where once a finisher was hit, you knew it's over.
Yeah.
And now it just seems like it's so commonplace to kick out that it no longer necessarily means that.
And it's just better for guys who have, I won't say multiple finishers, but guys who have signature moves. Like if Ziggler
hits the super kick
if
into
Ziggler hits
the
the super kick, that's a big part of the match. If he hits the Faymaster, big part of the match. People can still kick out of him.
Yeah.
But if it's a zigzag, he needs to be winning up the zigzag.
Yeah.
And maybe he can win with the Faymaster every once in a while. He's beat people with the super kick before.
Yeah.
Which would be cool. Like, I think everyone should stop using super kick. Ziggler should use it.
But yeah, the super kick is one of my favorite finishing moves.
And everybody,
it's my finishing move in like in 2K15. Like that's how I win matches. So when I see him on Raw, it upsets me. and just as when they're just part of the thing. I'm
You
like,
would just hate the Young Bucks.
oh my gosh, I would. I actually found like New
Super Kick
Japan
Party.
Pro Wrestling on my satellite the other day.
Really?
Wow.
It was like on Access, like
Yes,
some channel.
yeah, they got picked
so
up,
I
yeah.
was like,
Bullet Club.
I just started like, I
Bullet
just
Club.
like, oh, I'm taping
DVRing.
this. Like I'm DVRing these, so I can now watch New Japan Pro Wrestling like at home. I'm excited.
You'll be a big Bullet Club fan.
Oh, am I?
If you love
Luke
it.
Gallows is in that,
NWO,
isn't he?
dude. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
AJ
excited.
Styles.
Oh, sick! I did not know that he was in it.
Yeah, Young Bucks.
All right then.
Kenny Omega.
Oh.
If you remember him,
No.
any chance? He's so good.
Okay.
He may be one of the best wrestlers in the world, and it's like a routine joke that yearly he just turns down WWE
Really?
because he was in OVW and then they didn't really do anything for him, and then he went to New
So he's
Japan
just
and became
done.
this huge thing, and he's kind of like, no, dude, I'm fine over here making all this money.
Yeah, I was about to say in Japan you can make bank.
Yeah,
If
I
you're
mean, it's
good.
like Kenny Omega is so good.
Okay.
Just look up Kenny Omega. He's
All right.
crazy. He does Hadoukens.
Real quick, favorite finishers. Do y'all have a favorite finisher?
I think, because it's like you said, some things like Brock Lesnar's move, which is that F5, it doesn't look like a finisher to me. It's like you're spinning him around. Things that are just very powerful, and it's obvious, like, okay, it's over. Anytime I think of that, growing up, I always thought of the jackhammer from Goldberg.
Okay.
More recently, I think of Last Ride from Undertaker.
It's like an elevated power bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, I mean, when you add air to something that's
It's already like almost 7 feet tall.
yeah, it's already gonna be pretty powerful, and it's effective, and so I think that's just, to me, what defines an excellent finisher.
Okay.
Yeah, when you can do, in my mind, the idea of a finisher, and this can be skewed obviously to different markets and stuff. But if a finisher can just be tied to a person, I think you've done something right. I've always really enjoyed stick pedigree. It's such a unique, different move. Like, people can throw super kicks. If
What
you
were your
start
thoughts on the
throwing a
Pepsi
super kick,
plunge?
It looked weird. It's a weird move to take.
It's
you know?
hard to set up.
Are you going to take a pedigree at the top rope? I wouldn't have. But it's if you do that, you're never going to think, oh, that's the accolade or something, a different name. That's the pedigree. Done and done.
Accolade, isn't that just like the
F5? As much as you say, like, anyone who does that move, it's the F5.
Yeah.
That's the name now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the F5. The GTS, go to sleep. That's Kenta's move. Go to sleep.
Okay.
And Punk took it and called it GTS.
Yeah.
But so it's like those kind of moves that are just iconic and stand out are always moves I've been kind of gravitated towards. And then like Shawn Michaels' favorite wrestler of all time is probably Super Kick, and then Package Pile Drivers.
Pile drivers.
Even though they've concussed me.
Pile
Such a
drivers
beautiful
just
move.
freak me out. I watched like a whole video of like all different kinds of pile drivers today. Probably, definitely one of the most effective things ever. And then I like I said earlier, since I'm a reality kind of based guy, I really like things that go to the head. So I should be a pile driver fan, though they just kind of freak me out. I'm a huge fan of the Code Breaker.
Yeah.
The Code Breaker is like just one of my all-time favorite. Every time I see it, I get really excited, and I like the finishers that can be hit out of nowhere, like the RKO. It's deadly.
So did you like it when Y2J hit the Code Breaker on Brock and Brock just kind of looked at him?
That upset me. Actually, that actually really upset me.
There's this cool freeze frame. You
It's
have to look it
cool.
up.
It's it was
it's
good
like-
storytelling for
it's
Brock,
like-
but it upset me.
Jericho's looking at him like it's frozen, and you can like see this look on Jericho's face, like, dude, you're supposed to fall down. This is and Brock's like, nah, bro.
Yeah. Oh
Time
my
to get
gosh.
that
Yeah,
fun.
that I actually forgot about that. That really upset me. Actually, 'cause I'm
Turn it
a
off.
huge
Turn the
fan.
remote.
I'm a huge
It's a finisher.
I'm a huge fan of the Code Breaker, and I've always loved like the sweet chin music. I like things that immediately hit the hand. I feel like, yeah, if I got hit with that, I'd probably go down and may not
Right.
kick out of something.
Yeah.
Like I might legitimately be out of it for a second, at least for 3 seconds. So I've
Daniel
always,
Bryan's knee, you must love that.
yeah, I do actually
Knee
like
to the
Daniel
face.
Daniel Bryan's knee.
What are you supposed to do to that?
I liked the GTS a lot. I felt really bad because every time I see Mysterio take a GTS, I think it's kicked in the knee because his feet don't hit in time.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, no, that's great. Amazingly enough, though, I've never been a 619 fan, even though that's directly to the head.
It's dreadful.
It's just because there's so much setup. A lot can I feel like go wrong. And then I was actually going to ask. This is my because I was trying to end on one final question. Do you have a favorite match? Ever?
I thought about it. Growing up, I never got to watch pay-per-views. I always watched WCW, and so I didn't get to see a lot of excellent matches because of the way that WCW
There was
worked.
cruiserweights?
There was great cruiserweight matches.
Your answer is Halloween Havoc, 97, Guerrero, Mysterio. Or no, that's 90. It's 96 or 97.
One that I'll tell you that I always think of, and I'm always like, why do people never mention it? I can't tell you what year it is. I just know it's during when Shawn Michaels returned and he feuded with Triple H. Mm-hmm. It was the New Year's Eve match between
their Falls Count Anywhere Street
the
fight
Falls
thing.
Count.
Yeah.
That was I just loved that match because
Shawn Michaels went through 30 tables.
Yeah, and
was that the SummerSlam match?
No, it was New Year's Eve. It was the last Raw.
It was before the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was because Shawn Michaels.
So it was
it was when he was trying to get his first title since coming back, and they had to go through Triple H, and he was just a bloody mess, and he takes him out, and Triple H falls, and Shawn Michaels just falls on top of him, and Bischoff of all people has to come out and do the 1, 2, 3, but then he calls the match a tie because Shawn Michaels' back was on the mat.
It's one of those things. Yeah.
It was that's one match that I always remember just because it was a well done story and just everything about it to me was very cool.
Okay.
So I put zero thought into this because I just now remembered it.
I text you these talking points during the day so you have time to think.
In the group message, I get a bunch of what are you guys eating for lunch? Random text. You guys
Sometimes I think Peyton hates
want to hang out later?
Yeah.
It's like, what's up? Punk, Samoa Joe, their 3 matches in ROH. Daniel Bryan, Nigel McGuinness, the unified match they had for the ROH Heavyweight Championship and the ROH Pure title. Kenta versus it's not Morishima. Kenta wrestled a dude who they're kind of like the same kind of a guy.
Okay.
I cannot remember his name. I'll text it you guys both of them. They had a series of matches together. Very, very good. Kenta Kobashi versus Miyazawa.
Whenever you say Kenta before, was that Kenta
Kenta,
Hideo?
all capitals, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Hideo.
Kenta,
okay.
There's Kenta Kobashi. He was Kenta. They have different names.
Just
Kenta
capital
versus Miyazawa.
Kenta.
I'll YouTube all this.
You got to yell
I'll YouTube all
if
this
you mean
stuff.
that Kenta.
Yeah, exactly. Go, Kenta! Just like that. It's awesome. Then for WWE standards, Michaels Undertaker won.
Okay.
I think he's the perfect WWE match.
Okay.
The number one perfect. The second one got a little too finisher heavy, but the first one, the first one's story was that Shawn Michaels had to wrestle the perfect match to beat Undertaker, and he wrestled the perfect match
and lost
until he got caught trying that moonsault. And that's it. He made one mistake, and that was it.
Okay.
Because that was the whole build-up. You can't beat me. You have to do the perfect match to beat me, and he wrestles the perfect match until he tries to do the moonsault one too many times. And that's it. Got caught. Boom. 1, 2, 3. And to me, that's beautiful. Perfect. It's harder for me, my heart not to smile bigger than that.
Okay. All right. I asked this question because I was telling Nick the other day because my favorite match ever is CM Punk John Cena on Raw February 23rd or 25 of 2013 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like a Raw match. It was just literally. And I was telling Nick, it's the reason it's my favorite match is I'll probably go back and watch it every couple of months, and I still get excited. Every near fall, I'm like, yes, no, and I know the outcome because they're wrestling because obviously this was a month after Punk loses the belt to Rock, and they're setting up the once in a lifetime match too. Yeah. So with Cena and and it's the match to say CM Punk says I should get that match, and they wrestle to see who gets to go. So I love that match because it's freaking CM Punk pulls out a pile driver, and every time I get super pulls out a pile driver, and it's the one probably legit reaction you ever get from Michael Cole in the history of his announcing, where he's like, "Holy crap, that's a pile driver!" Because it wasn't supposed to happen. I'm sure they told no one. I'm sure only Cena and CM Punk.
Cena takes those moves the Cena HBK WrestleMania. He takes pile driver on the stairs.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
I love it. And then, for some reason, John Cena whips out a Hurricanrana at the end. But I'm like, it's a bad Hurricanrana, but I'm like, all right, Cena, I like that. You're
trying.
You went somewhere. It's a sucky one, but it's at the same time, maybe the most beautiful Hurricanrana I've ever seen, just because John Cena did it, and it's probably the only time he's ever done it. But it's my favorite match of all time because it's just I'll go back and watch it, and I'm just in awe of it. If I had to have a second one that's actually main event caliber, it'd probably be Taker, Shawn one.
Well, you can't. It's probably if not the one of the best
and then
not WrestleMania, but just wrestling matches of
the other really cliche answer to that, but it's a fantastic match. Is Savage Steamboat at 3, at WrestleMania 3.
Yeah.
But apparently that match was choreographed move for move. So
it's a spot. When you hear all these guys, all these older wrestlers, like, oh, we don't like the high spot matches and stuff. My number one thing is like, did you like the Savage Steamboat match? You're like, yeah. Watch it again.
Yeah.
There's zero thought process in that match. You just move the entire time, which is beautiful because that's what it needed. That feud was all about.
Yeah,
and I saw that in that dude's name. It's Kenta versus Marufuji. Pretty much any one of their matches.
And then I will say, just recently, as of like yesterday, like pretty much anything that like Steamboat Flair did in the late '80s together. Those are stupid good matches. Like
that's the cool thing about the network.
That is the one good thing I will plug about the network. Is I've gone back and I've gotten to experience some of these, and I don't necessarily know the outcomes of a lot of these, and I'm in my office at my job, just like yes.
Where do you work?
I'm in work at a marina. It's incredible. With that, we'll come back next week with some fallout from Fast Lane and hopefully some good news and being a little more excited about WrestleMania.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Are you tapping out?
Yeah, I'm
tapping out. We got to tap out.
No, make Chris Fury tap out. I want to do it. Okay.
So armbar?
Yeah, armbar.
Okay.